All right. Happy Monday, everybody. Best day of the week. So before you go out and kill the week, let's talk about attraction and how fear ruins or kills it. Now, the thing about that is, though, I'm not talking about your fear necessarily. I'm talking about your partner's. Okay? So what would your partner be afraid of? Well, fear comes from mistrust. See, a woman doesn't have to trust you to be sexually attracted to you, to be aroused by you, if there's no feelings of mistrust. So there's a difference between, I don't know, okay, if I can trust this person. That leaves it open, is the person trustworthy or not? If they're not sure, that attraction can be there still. That when I say attraction, I'm talking about arousal, meaning that they are sexually drawn to you. Now, if they don't trust you, though, there's distrust, okay, and that's a genuine distrust. It can ruin or kill the sexual attraction piece. So here's how that works. So how mating selection is processed in, we'll say, a female's brain, okay, is that it processes through the female brain, through the hindbrain first, okay, that's your biological drivers. So she could be biologically drawn or attracted to you. So let's say you have a partner, and you cheated on your partner. Okay, let's use that as an example. And you cheated on her, okay, and it's very fresh and she doesn't trust you, okay? So her hindbrain, or biological drive for you, or that draw for you, is still there. She was biologically drawn to you in the beginning. That doesn't actually go away. Once you're biologically drawn to someone, if they don't drastically change their physicality or how they appear, then that biological draw or sexual desire for them will always be there. And again, that's the part, if you're talking, it's how you're made and how she's made. Okay, so there's certain people that you will be drawn or more aroused by than others, just based on your genetic makeup. And there's nothing you can do about that or change. You can be a better version of that, like get in shape and so forth, or present yourself well. But the actual genetics behind it, even down to the smells, okay, of that person, you can't necessarily change that. So that arousal will still be there on a biological level. But then the next step is it passes through the unconscious mind. Now, let's say you've betrayed that person, let's say in this cheating scenario. Well, the unconscious mind is where they have the bucket of experiences. Now, if within that bucket of experiences, there's a trauma now that was created. So let's say you lied and cheated, she found out. All those traumatic feelings sit in that bucket. And so the arousal, she sees you, smells you, feels your touch, or experiences that. It passes through the hindbrain, arousal's there, and then boom, gets stopped up right at the bucket of experiences part, the unconscious mind. Gets stopped up there and trapped up into trauma, and it doesn't come out the other side, okay? Now, even with that, those traumas then create the next level for a woman is emotions. So again, they are processed through biological drivers first, then unconscious mind, then emotions next for a female. So as it passes through the emotions, well, what is in the emotions? Anxiety, distress, negative feelings, imagery of, let's say, that cheating experience or finding out about that or whatever. All that negative stuff is there in the bucket of emotions. So that's even now more than just not being attracted. It could actually lead to a distaste now for you, okay? And then the logic would be the last place for a female, all right? Now for guys, it passes through the hindbrain, then the bucket of experiences, and then the logic first, then emotion. Guys are capable of because the emotions part is last, guys are actually capable of having sex with people, with a female, even if there was a traumatic experience behind it. They might not get stopped up quite as easily as a male might not get stopped up from that arousal quite as easily as a female would. All right, and this is how just we're built differently. All right, so what's the point of all that? The point of all that is if you create distrust, or you do something where you create a trauma, you create distrust. That trauma and that distrust has to heal and go away before she can really be aroused by you again. That barrier has to be removed. So when you do something, it doesn't matter. She might forgive you, okay? Logically forgive you and say, I forgive this person. But it'll take a lot of time before that barrier can go away. And sometimes, in some cases, I mean, you know, if they're not the type of person who is resilient, if they're not a resilient person is capable of overcoming trauma. You know what I mean? Even if the trauma is there, they're capable of overcoming it at a point. People who are not resilient might, you know, so he or she, let's say she is not resilient, she won't overcome that trauma, and she'll hold on to it forever, and she'll never be attracted to you again, you know? And that's obviously a breakup scenario that needs to happen. So it just depends on the person, the woman or the man. More resilient people are able to forgive easier. They're able to overcome trauma easier. The more resilient you are, the more you can overcome that. Doesn't mean it won't show up later if it's unaddressed, but you know what I mean? It can, that level of resiliency is important, you know? So anyway, that just kind of breaks it down. But so you understand that if they're fearful, that fear comes from distrust. They don't trust you because of a bucket of bad experiences, something that you've done that created a trauma, or just created a bad experience for her. That arousal is not going to be there. That sexual arousal is not going to be there. So you have to address the emotions. You have to get on the same page, and you have to overcome that trauma, even if that means, you know, giving her time and space to do that before any kind of attraction or arousal can be built again. So quick video just to explain that aspect of it. And thanks for tuning in. Crush the week and have a good one.